Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko, their part number 1877D, dark bronze anodized aluminum half saddle threshold is what this is. The 1877 is representative of this profile of this item, and I was pulling up the paperwork to see what other finishes are available. 1877 is this profile. Okay, it is a half saddle offset threshold. It's a half saddle threshold, is what it is. Offset in the sense that it will allow you to transition between two uneven floor surfaces. It's not a very common threshold in the sense that I don't sell them often, which I would like to argue is because they're not that commonly needed. Why? Well, the confluence of its dimensional properties, most likely. It's 7-inch wide, which is awfully deep for a half saddle. And it's 3/4 tall, and it's the 3/4 tall, I think, is where it becomes somewhat less common. 3/4 inch tall. Now, the good thing about this threshold, however, is if you needed a 3/4 inch tall half saddle threshold, but you needed it 5 1/8, what I tell clients to do all the time is, because you just can't get these other sizes, take this unit, flip it over, and run it down on your table saw, and come up with your own custom width. Very possible. And where are you going to use this? Condo buildings are going to use these all the times, where they've got a large concrete pour in the concrete in the garage parking area, lower level naturally. It's not uncommon to see disparate floor surfaces there. And a 3/4 inch offset's not that uncommon, so you might very likely see a ramp or an offset threshold like that. Okay, so the fact that it starts out at 7 inches is quite handy, because you can, if you needed to, alter it. You can see where those webs fall into place from the back side, about 1 inch, over to about 4 1/8, get you all the way out to the 7 inch. Let's put that the opposite way as well, from the leading edge, so you can kind of get an idea. From the leading edge, you're at about 2 7/8, then to the back side, looks like it's about 6 inch. Okay, there you go. Obviously, if you're going to modify this, you might have to support it from the bottom at some point. Okay, the finishes I had mentioned earlier: A for mill aluminum finish, D for dark bronze, and that's what this is. Then G for gold, gold anodized. All three of those are aluminum-based material. I often will see these installed also in residential applications, and here's why. Client puts in a new front door, client puts in a new floor condition, and they've gone with hardwood, and they've left some material down where they've literally increased the floor thickness by X amount. Well, they've got the sill, the masonry sill on the outside, but now they've got this huge step up, and they've trimmed the door down so that it swings over the new floor surface. But a piece like this, even if you had to rip it the 7 inch down, will allow you to somewhat elegantly transit from that what was this to now this sort of scenario. So that's another application where you will quite occasionally see these. And by the way, screws, as you might have come up with hearing them fall, they're included naturally in a complementary finish. Now, we've talked about where you're going to use it, and quite frankly, where it solves your problem is where you're going to use it. There's no hard and fast rule about that. Now, also, the three finishes we talked about, all are aluminum: mill, dark bronze, and gold. Available on the site in lots of different lengths, everything from 2 foot to 8 foot, certainly on 6 inch increments, if not closer. You can order items longer than 8 foot. We just don't list them because the cost to ship things longer than 8 foot are generally prohibitive. Certainly if you need one, but if you needed 12 pieces at 12 foot length, it's no longer very prohibitive to ship something like that, because it can't go package service. It has to go tractor trailer or LTL. Now, if you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces, and simply indicate in the comment field what length you'd like for us to cut the material back at. Now, the reasoning is this. This is very wide. You may not have the tool large enough to cut this elegantly. You may not want to have to cut it. You may not want to have to contend with a countersink or a dimple in the extrusion at the improper distance from the edge, improper center to centers of the screw holes as well. So if you ordered a custom length, we're going to save you that trouble of cutting it to length, but we're also going to locate that first countersink at a good distance from the edge and the proper center to center as well, is what we'll end up doing for you. And I mentioned that only because of the length, really. If you had a 10-inch miter box saw, you'll be challenged to get this cut, and if you've got a 7-inch or a 7 1/4, it's not going to. You will literally have to flip it over and cut it again, which you don't obviously want to do because you won't get a really clean cut. And while this is an exposed, non-anodized edge, it is factory cut, factory straight is the point. Okay, so you're not going to get any finishing on a threshold like this after it's been cut, but nonetheless, you will get a nice straight edge from the factory. Now, offset saddle thresholds like this or half saddle thresholds are very common from Pemko. There is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Pemko products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website as well as a link to the full product catalog. And I think what would be handy, because I expect that you're probably looking at a relatively uncommon threshold to begin with, is to pull up that full line catalog, as you can partially see here. And I'll do a search function for 1877, and I'll just hit enter until the page comes up where it's found. And then what I'll do is, once I'm on that page, I'll just simply scroll around and look at the other options. You might find something more appropriate. And sometimes it's just fastest, easiest, and potentially most gratifying to be able to look at the manufacturer's original published catalog. If you have any questions on the Pemko number 1877D, dark bronze anodized aluminum half saddle threshold, or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you very much.